Hello and welcome back to the Innsmouth Case with me, Bardon. Right, so we are going to I want to go to the pyre. I want to see what happens if I just let them. Yeah, I want to see what happens if I just let them go on with things. Will they actually just burn me at the stake? Let's load that. Freezing cold, voices whispering, arguing, raindrops that roll off your forehead, a pungent smell of fish that you have almost gotten used to. Damn it. Your cheek is pressed against something cool. After the first moment of disorientation, you realize that you are lying somewhere on the street, out on the street. You open your eyes. The situation is not new to you. On several drunken nights in Boston, you've ended up near a trash can on a dodgy side street. This is perfectly normal. You groan as you raise your head and immediately regret moving. All you can feel at the back of your head is pain. You no doubt you were knocked out. You tried to touch the back of your head, but failed. You seem to be tied up. Okay, this is definitely not normal. At least now you recognize where you are, the Innsmouth Town Hall Square. At least 50 villagers have gathered around you. They've huddled together in small groups, are deep in conversation. Relaxed, they rest on their pitchforks, and have thrown their fishing nets loosely over the shoulders. Now and then they grin at you. So we want to kind of just let them do what they're going to do. So we're going to be as passive as possible. And of these two, complaining is probably the more passive. If all else fails, you decide to wallow in your self-pity. After all, you have no clue how you got yourself into this situation. One of these gangsters have also stolen your wallet and emptied your bank account. Do they have your apartment key? Have they already been to your crappy apartment in Boston? And what about your goldfish, Al? You really should have fed him again before you left. Damn it. You're going to lose everything. Everything. But they will never take away your online private detective license. A worn down boot suddenly appears in your field of vision. Awake already? A voice croaks from above. With great effort you manage to look up to see who dares to interrupt your fit of self-pity. It is the leader of the group, Abraham, who looks down on you triumphantly. From where you are, you can see all the small tumors that are spreading from his chin. Yuck, you say involuntarily. If you've offended him, he doesn't show. He gives you a dirty grin. I hope you've enjoyed your stay in our little town today, landlubber. Meh. It's pretty difficult to shrug your shoulders while lying on the floor in shackles. That's why your reply is meh. The old man shakes his head scornfully. You goddamn city dwellers and your indifference. Damn, the man whistles as if impressed. You are a tough guy, I'll give you that. I wonder how long that will last when you're on fire. Fire? Before you can ask for more detailed explanation, you're grabbed by the arms. Some fishermen have suddenly approached you without you noticing. They jerk you up into the air and carry you over to the square. After just a few yards, they slow down. The ground they're walking at seems less solid. You're standing by a stake. Two men in rags and gross bulges on their cheeks. Undo your handcuffs and then tie your arms around the central pole. The remaining villagers have interrupted their chatter and are coming closer. What's this? What's all this about? What's all this about? The situation is so bizarre. Is this really a stake? Do these people really want to set you on fire in the public square? A bunch of ragged figures with deformed bodies is gathered in the town square. They've quashed noses, gills, and psoriasis that covers the whole face. You are certain that you have not yet met any of these horror figures today, or did you? Maybe they simply looked more harmless in direct sunlight. Finally, about time! Someone shouts, annoyed, and drowns out all the other conversations taking place in the town square. Looks like someone finally managed to light a torch. Solemnly, the men march towards you, and in awe, the other villagers make way for them. Not everyone in Innsmouth can light a fire. Two of the men remain with the other spectators, and the torchbearer continues along until he stands before you at a stake. He turns his back on you and begins to speak to the electric audience. Brothers and sisters! Yes, Abraham, several people respond, which says a lot about the Innsmouth gene pool. Quiet, he growls. I mean everyone present. Satisfied, he solemnly spreads his arms. You can now see that the hand on which he holds the torch is a single flap of skin wrapped around a log. The hour approaches, and before you stands it's him. The hour approaches, and before you stands our tribute to Dagon. We share the sacrifice and the blessing, for we are faithful children of the... He falls silent. A dozen tourists walk out of the next alley along. The villagers look surprised and exchange baffled looks. Some look to Abraham for help. Embarrassed, Abraham drops the torch. Okay, so we did say that we were going to be passive, so we remain silent. You remain silent. This whole thing is really rather unpleasant. Sure, these degenerates want to set you on fire and to sacrifice you to some god, but the point is that they picked you for it. Out of all the travellers in this town, they chose you. For example, this guy who was constantly shoveling white French fries into his mouth didn't pick him, or the blonde hipster who has the nerve to take selfies of himself and the stake with yours truly on it. They didn't pick him either. All those tourists were carefully considered, and only you were found to be worthy enough for the stake. The tourists mingle with the people, but the atmosphere remains stiff and awkward. The villagers once again prove to be lousy hosts. The tourists soon move on to the next attraction of the Innsmouth nightlife. Abraham, the torchbearer, hems and haws for a few more minutes, until all the tourists have left the town square. Thanks, he mumbles sheepishly with a side glance in your direction. That was, really decent of you not to make any trouble. See, that would be, again, it's kind of an interesting, what would happen if we do that, but we came to see what happens if we're passive, so we don't worry about it. Never mind, you say, bored. You said goodbye to life, and the last thing you want to see in your last moments on earth are goddamn tourists, wretched tourists. Any last words? 9/11 was an inside job. I love pineapple on pizza. I regret nothing. Well, I don't believe either of those two. Pineapple on pizza, Hawaiian pizza, not my favorite. I will eat it, but I won't be happy with it. Give me a pepperoni any day of the week. So I guess it's I regret nothing. Some villagers give you a round of applause, but the majority of the audience stands there awkwardly. Abraham just shrugs. Then he puts the burning torch in the wood. With a crackling sound, the fire consumes the first dry branches. The sight of the spreading flames makes you panic, brings your inner peace. Yeah, I guess it's going to be... It wouldn't make sense it would make sense for the panic thing, although it could be a delayed reaction. Maybe we were in shock and we were being passive just because of that, and then we realized, shit, he's actually doing it, he's actually burning us, and then we start panicking. That could make sense. But going with the whole again being passive, I think it brings us inner peace. Oh, fire, the naughty rebel among the four elements, the slowly approaching flames take you back to your childhood, evenings under the stars, which you've watched on TV. Oh, television. It doesn't take long for the whole pile of wood to be on fire. The heat is unbearable. Your skin hurts so much that you almost lose consciousness. But no such luck. Only when all your clothes are singed and blisters form on your cheeks does your circulation system finally collapse. At the stake you burn alive. Never again cold cases. Okay, that was cool. So that is the end of that one. I hope you have enjoyed. Hope you are keeping safe out there, and hope to see you next time. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, maybe consider hitting the subscribe button there on the right, or checking out some other videos here on the left, or perhaps you might even share with some friends.